there could be casualties of us bringing down the barriers, so we might not be able to save everybody.
Anyone with Camille would know that this area is off limits.
All right, so the question is, what are you going to do about it?
Ask you to leave?
Okay, so here's the deal. You are all going to either surrender or die. That is not true, as you are a legendary hero.
What kind of hero would allow something like that to happen?
Great heroes are born through tragedy, because it's something that you must overcome.
Welcome back, Foundlings, to another episode of the Odd Campaign. I am Quentin, your GM here, joined by the one, the only other player at my table.
Currently. Hello, my name is Emily, and today I am playing Odette, who is accompanied by her cute little pseudo-dragon, Indiana.
I'm trying to remember what happened last time.
What do you mean you're trying to remember what happened last time? We went into the base? And we went up the stairs.
Yes.
We fought some gargoyles.
Oh.
Yes. And they were defeated, though. But then we went onto a little planet that you could walk around in 24 minutes.
It was very cute.
It was very cute.
It made me feel like a big dragon.
It made you feel like a big dragon. And time was able to be fast-forwarded and rewound. Oh, we also did learn about Ace's secret past.
And I think there is where we're going to be picking up this week's episode of The Odd Campaign, right after your conversation has ended. As time passes, and the sun sets and rises, and sets and rises again.
And sets and rises
and
again.
Sets and rises, and sets and rises. About every 20 minutes or so. Like 24-ish minutes.
I did like, though, the Galahan's like, you're trying to find a reason to keep on living. And it's like, ooh, that's a good one. That's good. We're hitting on topics of depression.
And eventually all of you find yourself in an uncomfortable sleep as the lights don't stay off in this place, man. Like, it gets like dark for like 10 minutes and then it's just like...
It's Alaska, but like worse.
Yeah. It's like pitch black for almost 10 minutes and then it's just like super bright every 10 minutes. So everyone's curled up, has cloaks or spare cloths. Eventually, S just finds himself in a tent, as it's the only way, and he's got his hood over it, his like masks pulled all the way up and his hood all the way down to just try and block out the sun. As time passes, and you eventually find an uncomfortable sleep.
Uncomfortable sleeps are my best sleep.
Roll an Arcana check.
While I sleep? You bet. I do my best thinking while I sleep. Check was a 21.
Almost a spark of inspiration comes to you while you sleep. If between the riddle at the gate and the ability to manipulate the world and the time itself, you noticed that the environment around you changed when you rewound the orb and went back in time. Everything went back to what it was.
I was actually thinking this myself, was rewinding as far back as I could get it to go.
So maybe there isn't anything here now, but what if there was another gate at a different time, sometime in the past?
She sits up with this sudden thought.
Time travel. We must go back to the past.
She shoots up from her bed and starts running in the direction of the orb.
What do you mean we have to go back to the past?
She's like running away from the group. on the other side of the world.
S just unzips his tent, opens it, sees you sprinting, starts booking it after you, and eventually catches up to you. What do you mean?
We have to go back to the past.
Odette, what are you trying to do?
We are going to rewind time.
She starts rolling the orb in the opposite direction.
Spinning it like super, super fast. You see as the grass kind of gets a little shorter and leaves start ascending from the ground and actually...
I was going to laugh if we went through seasons as well and it got really cold and then really hot.
leaves start attaching to the trees that were once barren, and some of the stones and boulders around the pedestal seem as if they're uncrumbling, and you do see as slowly they fixate themselves in front of you until just 10 feet away from the pedestal, there is another gate.
Aha! If you could change the past, would you?
Sometimes you just have to revisit the past.
We did. See, I told you the past was... I had the answer. We were just all very tired. How's everyone feeling today?
Oh, much better. Last time you threw us into the... time...
Yeah, I know. I started rewinding, and then I realized when we got to the gate and I looked at the puzzle, the riddle, the past was the answer. I was going to come back here, but everyone was tired. So...
S kind of just pats you on the back. Good job.
Thank you. All right. So, this is the way forward. I have to hold the orb in place or else it's going to start moving, and I don't know when it's going to disappear. So,
So Galahan walks to the gate. So does Selena.
wait a second.
She starts fumbling around with the orb, trying to make sure it stays in place.
And you see as S acquiesces and stops and turns around, looking in your direction.
She approaches over to him and she has her hand at her side, but she gets really close to him.
Just hold still 1 second.
And she reaches her hands around his neck and clasps a necklace around it.
What is this?
It is a necklace, S.
Why is it on me?
God, S, it's here to protect you. It's a gift, okay? Can you just accept the gift?
He just kind of stares blankly off in your direction, not really sure how to act or respond to this gesture. And then you see as he begins to unravel the scarf that is around his neck and just ties it to your wrist.
What is this?
A gift.
But why is it on me?
Why can't you just accept it?
Dang it, S, don't be logical here. Okay.
It's my most cherished possession.
She looks down at it.
I can't take this.
After everything is said and done, you can give it back to me.
Okay.
Just hold on to it for now.
All right. I'll make sure I give it back to you.
She's kind of running her hand over it, looking at it. And she looks up at him.
You asked me what I wanted. Yesterday time.
Before we rested.
Yep, before we rested. And the truth is, it's less of a want at this point, but it's more of a, I don't know what's going to be waiting for me when I get out. And I'm scared.
She kind of blushes a little bit and looks away.
But I think that if I know that you're there, if you can be there, I think I can handle it. So I guess I'm asking a really awkward question of, besides us just talking a lot, maybe we could see each other more?
I'm not sure what waits for us either. But one thing I do know is I'd like that very much.
She looks back at him, searching his face.
You can see as you have mentioned the unknown reality that waits for you after everything is said and done, that he kind of begins to tear up a little.
She looks really concerned.
Are you okay, yes?
And as you're already within very close proximity, he just takes a small step forward and gives you a hug.
I think I will be. Thank you.
She tenses up for a moment and then relaxes and returns the hug. And then after a moment,
Are we being intimate right now?
I think that is the first time you have potentially used that word correctly. But we should probably get back to the rest of the party.
Right.
she lets go.
That was very nice. Okay. Game plan. Back in the game. Right.
And she runs through the gate.
Go through the gate. And almost instantly, S also comes through the gate. And before you stand in a large, dome-like, almost Gothic cathedral with the darkened turquoise sea stone and black Abystian metal, almost cage-like, surrounding the outsides and propping up the walls, as there is a giant glass cylinder in the center of the room with a electrifying, pulsating, psionic crystal in the center. But also, almost more alarmingly, you do see a familiar face. Long, black, raven hair, pointed ears, and a dark complexion as this tiefling stares back at you in her teal cloak. And you notice there stands Columbia.
Oh.
Why, hello. It has been a long time, Odette.
Hola, Columbia. I see you are just the same as usual.
You seem to have made new friends.
See? Yes, and this is my legendary hero, Galahan. And this, I have two of them. Those.
How quaint. So do I.
And she gestures out her hands to either side, where you see an all too familiar white-cloaked figure with a smiling mask, and you see standing there, stalwart and broad, an absolutely massive knight in black Abystian armor.
So what happened to your last legendary heroes? You get rid of them again? They were fired?
Odette, I thought you would know better than anyone. There can only be one legendary hero. For if someone is better than you, you are not the hero of legend. These two candidates are thus far the best we have found through trial and error.
Yes, I seem to have forgotten part of one of the reasons why I left, but that's okay.
She kind of leans over to S.
So, S, you may have to kick their butts. I don't know if we're getting out of this easily. She's very hard-headed.
And she kind of leans back over to the other side to Galahan.
And Galahan, it might be difficult, but you might need to live up to your name.
And who are your associates?
She stands up a little straighter.
These are my contenders for legendary heroes. Yes. And a sister. She's just a bystander. She is not involved in any of these.
Very well then. It seems as if you make one claim, but I make another. Shall we figure out who is true?
I feel like that's up to the heroes to make that decision. After all, I'm not the one in charge here. I mean, but also, Columbia, what exactly are you doing here? You're, in a very strange place right now.
Was it not you who even agreed that a legendary hero would require a legendary artifact? One of great power.
See? So, what is it that is here that has drawn you, Columbia?
Exactly that. Great power.
And she raises up her hands, and you can kind of see in the background of where she stands is the massive green kinetic crystal, which is radiating an electrified aura about it.
It is a nice crystal. I can see that it is very powerful.
And what is it that you are doing here?
That is a great question, Galahan.
My dear lady, it would appear as if you are correct. Our goals do seem to be in conflict with one another. For, you see, I understand the desire to obtain great power, but at what cost?
Why, everything.
Galahan, she is a mad woman. FYI.
We do not wish for there to be more bloodshed than is necessary, but if it is what it takes to sacrifice the lives of the few for the lives of the many, I will be willing to lay down mine.
And you see as Galahan draws his sword.
I'm sorry, Odette. You may be right. There may not be any other way out of this.
Oh, I'm right for once. It's a really good... Oh, yes! Of course, legendary hero Galahan. It is, as you say.
She kind of readies her own staff in her hands, looks awkwardly at S.
Yes.
S pulls out his Kusarigama.
Selena, you may wish to step back a little bit. I have no idea what these guys can do, but they do look very strong.
That's not a problem. I'll just... And you see she does slowly back up until she is almost in the archway of the pocket dimension that you were in previously.
Well then, Odette, it seems as if your heroes have come to challenge me after all.
Well, after all, their goals are my goals, so I guess this is what we're doing now.
But you must understand, if I am here and so are my champions, that means that we have never lost, and we do not intend to start now.
But if we are here, and I am with my champions, then that means that we have never lost.
We shall see.
It would appear as if the six of you are having a good, old-fashioned standoff, but, of course, it would be none other than your legendary hero, the swiftest of them all, who would first break the silence and act before anyone else could. You see as S darts at blinding speeds straight towards Columbia, wasting absolutely no time. He slices with his Kusarigama directly at her neck, and you can see as there is blood drawn, but almost as soon as he arrives there, he vanishes and disappears from sight. Columbia, outraged, you see as she's grasping at her throat and trying to stifle the bleeding. She raises up a hand, and you can see from the ledges above in the Gothic architecture, almost in the ceiling and rafter, just right where the dome meets the top of the supporting wall, that there are a number of white-cloaked individuals begin stepping forward.
That's not fair.
And you do hear as they begin chanting, and you see as her wound is healed.
That is absolutely not fair.
And that is why I will win.
Whoa, villains, cheating? No. What you do hear as she speaks, it seems forced and strained, as if some lingering damage does still remain. You have noticed that the full plate clad individual in dark armor has yet to move. He has just been stood upright with his sword down on the ground, but as Columbia has been struck and as S is now moving, it's almost as if his eyes ignite in purple flame, and you just see as they dart over in the direction of Galahan.
Oh, poor Galahan, buddy boy.
The knight does not even move, but as you turn, you see what appears to be almost a spectral sword has fallen from above and slices right down across Galahan's chest.
Oh my god.
Columbia gestures over to the individual standing to her left-hand side, who is wearing the masks, and you see as from behind him raises up out of the ground 3 staffs. He grabs one of them, and all you see is what appears to be a semi-translucent veil appear in front of them.
Can I roll a spellcraft check on that?
Sure.
I'm very curious to see what he's got over there. 19.
It seems as if he has cast Wall of Force.
Can I make a Knowledge Arcana on that?
Sure.
31.
You can tell that a Wall of Force is going to be roughly 10 square feet per level, and seeing as this wall goes from one end of the room to the other, it would appear this is a very high-level spell. The Wall of Force cannot be moved and is not easily destroyed. It is immune to dispel magic, though a Wall of Force can be damaged. However, a Wall of Force has a hardness of 30 and 20 HP per caster level. Breath weapons and spells do not pass through a Wall of Force in either direction, though Dimension Door, Teleport, and similar relocating spells can bypass the barrier.
How tall is this room?
Very tall, like 40 feet.
Okay.
But there is now a very solid yet semi-visible wall in front of you. You notice as Galahan raises his shield and casts a spell, though the target is not himself. Instead, it appears as if he casts the spell targeting Selena.
All right, my turn?
Your turn.
Okay.
All right. So you're going to pull out your cheat card? I guess I'll pull out my cheat card. Indiana.
That I really don't mean to break it to you, but I don't really know what I'm going to do here.
Just, Indiana, be cool about this, okay?
Oh, what do you want me to do?
Just be really cool. Fly there.
Uh-huh.
And then, how would you like to become a real dragon?
She casts Beast Shape, level 4, on Indiana. And so Indiana is going to turn into a young bronze dragon.
Well, Odette, I have to be honest. I don't think it's possible, but I will do it again. Charge!
And you see as he starts flying, flapping his little wings. But as he gets closer and closer to his destination, you hear as the wing beats go from small, dainty little flaps to woof, 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 and they get stronger and stronger and more powerful until eventually he lands atop the Wall of Force and lets out a roar.
Fly.
I'm a real dragon!
I'm a real dragon! And you see as emanating from Indiana is no longer that puny produce flame. In fact, the ring that was around his tail actually burst, breaking as he grew in size. But honestly, a very underwhelming sacrifice in comparison to an absolutely massive electric breath attack that he unleashes.
Well, Odette, it seems like you have certainly added a few new tricks to your arsenal.
I've been studying very hard.
Well, I am sorry to say, it will all be for naught.
I would have Odette step just a little bit further back so she's not as far forward.
Sure.
Kind of using wherever Indiana's standing as almost like a block.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it matters too much. She's confident.
You notice that S may be evening the playing field. Though you do not see him, you notice a number of the white-cloaked figures who are above in the rafters chanting. The voices have seemed to wane and weaken, some replaced with shouts and screams. Ow! Ah! And you see as actually bodies start falling from above,
Gosh.
landing all around. All of them with just individual slice marks emanating from their back as they pool in blood.
Very nice.
If it is a battle of familiars you would like,
No.
then so be it.
You see a twisted, blood red and purple arcane circle start to form around her. It seems as if she is casting a very high-level summoning spell. You could roll a Knowledge Arcana if you like.
Yes, please. She summoned demons, man. 34.
You can tell that Columbia is casting Summon Monster level 7.
Oh, God. She's... oh, no.
And to match the deep, thunderous wing beats of your dragon, you see as it almost looks like the stark black wings of a vulture raise behind her.
She's an actual summoner. An actual Eidolon, please.
And you see from behind her, you can roll a Knowledge Planes.
Okay. 16 on planes.
Your estimation is that your exclamatory statement was potentially correct, that this is an entity of demonic origin, as she has summoned a Varrock from behind her.
A Varrock?
A Varrock. This creature with large, black, leathery wings is a twisted cross between a man and a gigantic vulture, as it has almost a humanoid body, but the head of this ravenous bird as it flies up and snaps at Indiana.
His AC is currently at 26.
Good AC. Indiana takes 14 damage as this creature slashes out with its talons, scraping at his scaly plates.
Oh no, Indiana.
Though you are certainly distracted by the flashy summoning and new combatant that has entered the fray, you do notice that, once again, the stalwart paladin in black armor does not seem to move, but his eyes seem to flash a bright purple, and the laser beams begin to protrude from his eyes. They dart up over the wall and jet and just impact directly into Galahan. You swear as you hear as 7 micro explosions all make contact with Galahan, scorching his breastplate. But still, this eldritch knight does not move and continues to stand there, sword not even drawn from the ground. You notice as the individual with the smiling mask grabs a different staff from behind him and whirls it above his head, and you see as he begins to ascend above the wall, as it seems as if he is now able to fly.
Oh!
And the staves raise up with him, so that they're always directly behind him. With that, it will be your turn. Galahan actually will call out to you.
Worry not about the demon. I shall vanquish it. Focus on Columbia.
All right, sounds good.
I would like to try and use chain lightning.
Oh, do you want to hit the Varrock as well?
Yeah, why not?
It would appear as if you direct impact, striking in to the arcane pretender. However, it does look like Columbia and the Varrock step to the side ever so slightly. The knight does not even flinch or try to evade and just takes the full brunt of it. And would you like to do anything else with your turn?
No, but I would like to let you know, as an Arcanist, I do have some abilities that allow me to, for example, I can maybe try and disrupt a spell if I see one that is being cast by using my Arcane Reservoir.
Is there anything you would like Indiana to do?
Indiana, get the mask guy.
As Indiana flies over to this arcane trickster of sorts who is hovering now about 15 feet in the air, the Varrock does dig its claws deep into Indiana's flank. They do dig in and meet flesh, drawing blood. Undeterred, Indiana pushes forward and takes a savage bite out of the trickster, and you see as his garment is torn, and he also takes a sizable chunk of damage.
And I think that would be Indiana's turn, yes.
You notice as Galahan just takes his sword held high.
In the name of your victims, and all of those you have tormented and have come before, I banish you!
And you see as he plunges his sword into the ground, and a great holy sword also descends from the sky, smashing deep into the Varrock, and it doesn't bleed or take damage, but rather it just seems to almost disintegrate and get sucked into a black portal.
Nice job.
You blink but for a moment, and then you do see as your legendary hero S is coming down from a crouching stance right behind the Eldritch Knight. This Kusarigama, he slips his blade in between the plates of the armor, and you see as he does in fact make contact. The knight still unflinching.
What the heck?
Roll a perception check.
No, why would I want to... Don't, I'm kidding. No, why would I want to do that? Oh, yes, my perception at 19.
It was so subtle, you could have almost missed it. But as the Eldritch Knight was stabbed in the back with the Kusarigama, his muscles tensed, and he flinched a little. You swear you saw a grimace. Or maybe it was your imagination. After all, I mean, he's wearing a full faceplate. But all of a sudden, you see almost as a wave of hands and just start pushing him backwards until he's slammed up against the wall. Enough of this. And you see as Columbia takes a step forward. But as she does, she immediately blinks. And she's right in front of you.
Oh, shit.
And you see as glowing red veins appear outstretching from her hands, and her nails almost grow like claws, and she digs deep into your neck. And as you feel the agonizing pain you see as Columbia looks rejuvenated. But that is her turn.
Okay.
And you hear as the arcane pretender says, "You should have chose a fire dragon." And he grabs at one of his staves, and you see with one hand, he casts a spell, and the face of Indiana and the open maw that was biting him is coated in grease.
Oh.
And now, as he's cast the spell, he outstretches the arm that's holding the staff, and an explosion of fire.
Oh, shit.
With that, though, it is your turn.
It is my turn, huh? And Columbia's right in front of me?
Columbia is right in front of you.
You're too close. Get away.
Okay, I'm gonna have her cast Air Geyser on Columbia to fling her up in the air.
Oh, but Odette, I like being this intimate.
I just gave you a blowout. Dang it.
You do see as her hair quaffs beautifully in the wind.
Oh, well, that's awkward. Now isn't it? Okay.
Odette is going to move back away from her.
Yeah, sure.
So essentially, I would move far enough away from Columbia so that she can't hit me easily, or she'll have to move again. But I don't want to be too close to Selena, so Odette's being wary of that. Unless Selena decides to join in at some point.
As S is making note now of your attacker, you see as he dashes and just leaps over the wall of force and comes to your aid as he notices you're attempting to flee from Columbia. He throws out the tail end of his kusarigama. You see its chain wrap around Columbia's ankle, and he pulls her leg out from under her as she's tripped. And then he goes and stabs the sickle part right in between her shoulder blades. Columbia, now disheveled, laying pronate on the ground, looks back towards her heroes.
Utric, do something.
And you see, as the Eldritch Knight raises his sword out from the ground, and it begins to radiate a purple orb.
Oh, he's doing something.
He slashes out his blade just where he's standing. And you see as almost a sword of force appears and just bats S away. You see as Columbia stands up and reaches out with her hands. And you see as 3 scorching rays burst out. One is going to hit you, Galahan, and S.
Oh.
Roll 16 damage per ray. And it is at this point that Galahan is looking rather hurt. Selena, who was previously enshrouded in this gold sphere you see now, it travels with her. She rushes over to Galahan and seems to heal his wounds.
How does S look?
S looks fairly injured now, as he's gotten battered around a little bit. The flying trickster tries to dart past Indiana, assuming that he would be dazed from the large concussive blast that was just dealt, but still Indiana does get just a momentary tail flick to swat him off course ever so slightly.
He deals 17 bludgeoning damage.
Still, the arcane pretender is able to fly right up to Columbia, grabs her by the shoulder, and they vanish.
Oh no.
Odette, what is going on?
What do you mean? What is going on? It's a fight.
I understand, but where did they go?
Hold on.
I can't do anything. It was Indiana's spontaneous move. I can roll a spellcraft
Sure.
to see what spell was used.
Yeah, absolutely.
28 on my spellcraft check.
You can tell that the spell that was cast was teleportation, though you are not quite sure as to where the destination is. Knowing Columbia's personality, you find it unlikely that she would have left the fray.
She must still be here somewhere. They teleported somewhere.
And you see as Galahan kind of huddles closer towards you, raising his shield, his sword outstretched, glaring at the Eldritch Knight, but not quite sure how to approach. Selena is likewise nearby, but it seems as if she has that veil of sanctuary around her that is protecting her.
Odette's looking a little hurt at this point. Like, she looks a little bit ragged.
As he comes closer to aid you, as Galahan is taking a purely defensive stance, it seems as if he outstretches his hand in your direction, and from it radiates a warm, glowing light. You heal for 25 damage and have fast healing level 3. Then it would be your turn.
And fast healing 3 basically just means I get 3 hit points per
Yep,
round.
at the top of the round.
For how long?
6 rounds.
Okay, so the only person really left or the people left are the people that were surrounding the room, or are they all gone?
It seems as if they have left. What of them could?
Indiana, come here. You seem so hurt, baby.
And he flies down to be beside you.
You're very hurt. Okay, hold on. I'm going to give you a little bit of extra HP for now.
I'm going to use False Life Greater, though.
Sure.
On Indiana to give him 26 temporary HP. And I would like to have Odette look around to see if she can see where they might have gone.
Roll a perception check.
My perception is a 16. Not great, but not terrible.
From your perspective, there seems to be no enemies, except that of the Eldritch Knight, which seems to be radiating a purple aura. That seems to be your only opponent.
Okay, so I am going to assume that what we are supposed to destroy is that crystal right there, and that man is in front of it. Don't know where Columbia is, but would be a good opportunity to go after it, maybe? Or we heal.
It is up to you. Our wounds have been staved to a degree.
Ace, how are you?
You see as he coughs up a little bit of blood.
I don't think Ace's wounds have been staved. I think he's been stabbed.
It just nods, yeah. Well, that would be Odette's turn because she already cast the spell on Indiana. False Life Greater.
Oh, yeah, it would be. Galahan healed you, and Selena healed Galahan.
Yep.
With that, you see, as he stands up and he pops the cork on a potion and begins to drink it.
Great. Okay. So we're in a slightly better place than we were 5 seconds ago. I have one more cast of Bishop or Chain Lightning. And, well, that's a lie. I have other spells as well.
But suddenly you hear as Columbia's voice echoes and reverberates through the chamber.
Thank you for gathering all together.
Oh!
And you see as above you is flying Columbia and the Arcane Trickster, and just a little red dot
Fireball, damn it!
drops right in between the three of you and erupts into a massive explosion.
Well, there goes all the temp HP I gave Indiana.
Roll a reflex save.
Reflex for Indiana, 20 for his, 21 for Odette.
Everyone in the area takes 20 fire damage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least he still has some of the temp HP, but yeah, no, that's...
Nobody ever thinks to look up, no.
You see as the Arcane Trickster seems to almost toss one of the staves, and it vanishes. He now only has 2 staves remaining. Roll an Arcana check.
Okay, sure. 20.
As the staff is discarded, you notice that the wall of force rescinds and vanishes as well. But you also do notice that the Arcane Trickster does seem to be wielding a different staff with 2 hands, and it is emanating a necromantic energy.
Oh, no.
Though you only have a brief moment to draw your concern to the large amount of necromantic arcane energy that is being pulled together, because as the wall of force drops, in comes charging the Eldritch Knight, and he seems to be coming straight for you.
Me? Oh,
Just barely before he makes contact, you see that Galahan is able to raise his shield, but his arm kind of gets crushed somewhat underneath just the raw strength of his opponent. Roll a reflex save.
Okay. 27.
You take 22 cold damage. As the sword emanating purple flames strikes, it seems to almost burst outward in a cone, which seems to sap the very heat out of the atmosphere around you, and this chilling gust just eats away at your skin.
Odette looks very hurt by this. Not emotionally, physically. You see that she kind of like recoils a little bit and grabs at her skin where it's just getting frostbitten. And she even like shivers a little bit from the cold.
This is not good.
With that, though, it would be your turn.
Okay. How close is this knight to me, or this person?
The only thing standing between you and him is Galahan right now.
She steps to the side, out from behind Galahan, and points to her crown.
Crown of Blasting!
And she uses the crown of blasting on him, dealing maximized 40 points of radiant damage.
It seems as if this knocks him back and staggers him slightly.
And she also regains 3 hit points. And they're above us, you said, right?
Mhm.
Is directly above us, I assume, is Columbia?
Indiana, get her with your breath attack.
You see as S runs up and actually runs on the side of the wall
Very nice.
until eventually he jumps over the ledge and is now standing once again on the lip where all of the chanting cultists were. And he throws out his chain and grabs the foot of the arcane trickster and pulls him towards him. With that, though, the arcane pretender does drop the staff, but you see as Columbia swats at it. Give me that! And she points it directly in your direction.
Oh, she's really got it out for me. Was the blowout that bad?
And she merely utters, disintegrate.
No.
And you see as this swirling mass of necromantic aura begins to build, and right before it is released, she points it at Selena.
No, she has nothing to do with this. She's literally been on the sidelines.
Number one rule of MMORPGs. Take out the healer.
Oh.
You see as this green beam stretches out, and at the last second, Galahan jumps, raises his shield, and blocks it.
Oh, thank God.
And while you have this momentary feeling of relief, you hear as Selena screams, Galahan! As you turn, you notice that in this split second, so much occurred. Columbia cast Disintegrate, changing her targets so that it would hit Selena. Galahan was able to successfully intercept blocking his shield, but in so moving, provoked an attack of opportunity.
No!
And you can just see as there's a massive sword plunge through his back and piercing through his chest.
Galahan?
One down. Well, Odette, it would seem that my legendary heroes are superior.
We're not out of this fight just yet. Selena, can you heal him?
And you see she kind of begins to break down as she's having this panic attack. I'm trying everything I have. And you see as she is outpouring all of this positive energy, but for some reason, the wounds refuse to heal.
What did you do?
Odette looks wildly panicked herself, looking towards Galahan and then peering over towards where S is.
Oh, God.
You see as S, wide-eyed, is staring at his fallen compatriot, and he's quite a distance away, but you swear you can hear him muttering, No. Oh, no. Not again. Not again. And you see as he pulls at the chain of his Kusari Gama, which is still wrapped around the leg of the Arcane Pretender, just pulls him closer and just plunges the sickle end of his blade directly into the chest of the Arcane Pretender and tosses his body to the side, as you see as the lifeless cloaked figure plummets and crashes onto the floor.
If we're going to make a trade, then so be it.
It is your turn.
Seeing that this knight is still near Selena, she casts black tentacles right on where the knight is, but the edge of it. 34 on its attack roll to grapple.
You cast these black tentacles and they reach out, grabbing this eldritch knight by the wrists and ankles, kind of stretching him out into a subdued and vulnerable position.
The knight would take 8 points of damage and is grappled. Columbia's in the air, correct?
It's like 60 feet up in the area, very close to the ceiling of the room.
Indiana, fly up there.
She would have him fly up into the air to try and tail whip her.
You see as Indiana leaps up from his grounded position, soaring high up into the air, and his tail just connects and impacts with Columbia, swatting her out of the sky as you see as she tumbles and crashes into the ground below.
We need to end this quickly.
Surprisingly, you hear the sound of coughing.
Galahan, no, don't move.
Selena, I may not be able to hang on for much longer. I was always proud to be your older brother. I'm just glad I got to save someone.
my god.
No. Why would you do? Why does it always have to be you?
Here we stand, to turn and face the odds, to sacrifice ourselves, or bow to lesser gods.
And you see, as with that, it appears as if Galahan breathes his last. And you just see a massive pillar of radiating positive energy emanating from around Selena, just shooting up from floor to ceiling. It seems as if, though, it doesn't sustain Galahan any. For some reason, these wounds are incurable. However, you notice as the Eldritch Knight seems to get absolutely blasted by this and starts convulsing in place as he's restrained by these black tentacles.
Vile witch!
And you notice as once again his eyes glow this vibrant violet hue, and beams just shoot out of them and impact directly into Selena.
Oh my god, Selena, no!
She stumbles, falling to the ground, but manages to get back up.
Well, you know what they say. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Odette wheels to look in the direction of where Columbia's voice is coming from.
And all you see is a flash of green light skating past you. And as you turn to follow it, where Selena stood, there's only a pile of dust.
Oh my god. What have you done?
I told you, Odette. Only one of us will be leaving today.
And she was just a kid. She was younger than me. You're a monster.
You asked me what I would do for power. And I already told you.
Yes. We have to kill her. We have to stop them. I know you can, hero.
Before you even let out those words, you see as S just jumps down from the top balcony, barely landing on the ground for half a second, leaps in the direction of the Eldritch Knight, and you see as his Kusarigama slashes at the back of his neck as he's still grappled by the black tentacles and just decapitates the knight.
I won't let it happen again.
Hero.
You just see as he turns to face you, tears in his eyes. It is your turn.
She's going to try and cast blindness, deafness on Columbia.
I can't stop you right now, but at least I can try and slow you down. No veas al mal, no escuchas el mal.
You feel as you reach out with this spell, with this curse, and as it attempts to make contact, it shatters.
Your puny parlor tricks. When will you learn? But I can see when I am clearly outmatched. But I never lose. Let's call this one a draw.
You see as she discards the staff, and you can sense that it is completely depleted of all of its magical energy, but instead she seems to be using some form of psionic or telekinetic spell that is being enhanced by the general surroundings. And she's actually ripping at the core in the crystal currently. And you feel as the entire tower begins to shudder and crumble as stones and bricks from all around you begin to fall.
If I am going down, you are coming with me.
The glass surrounding the case shatters. A green wave of telekinetic and psionic energy explodes as she tears down the core of the energy, and it blasts outward. The entire tower collapses in on itself.
Oh god. I think she made our job a little easier, but hey. Victory! Oh god.
Roll reflex it.
Oh shit.
Oh, that's a
It's a 19. It's not great.
It could be good, though.
It's not good though. No. Oh. They're just light rocks.
Well, first, you get hit by an explosion of arcane energy.
Oh.
And then second,
Oh.
the ceiling collapses.
Oh, yeah.
The bricks begin to cascade down upon you, first crushing your ankle, making it impossible to escape or roll in any direction as everything kind of folds in on itself, and then the building collapses down, being buried in mounds of this ancient tower that has stood for millennia. In one foul swoop, caves in and collapses. The dust begins to settle. Boulders are getting pushed aside. The flap of a dragon tosses some of the debris and rubble. S, coughing.
Odette! Odette!
But there is no response. The golden necklace that you gave him seems to have shrouded him in a thin gold veil, and then, after that brief moment, scatters to dust. S begins violently digging through the rubble until he finds the limp hand of his compatriot with the scarf still tied around it.
No. Camille, you'll pay for this.
And I think that's where we're going to end this week's episode.
Man, oh man, that was good.
Nice.
Well, Foundlings, that was an cinematic and emotional wrap up to Strike Squad B's events, but the tower was brought down. So
Success!
mission
At a cost!
task failed successfully.
Well, I think it was successful. Yes, there was some sad moments, but
We'll have to see how this resolves and how everything comes to a close in another episode of The Odd Campaign. So thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode of The Odd Campaign. If you did enjoy this, if you hated this, if you think we're terrible writers and voice actors after this, and you want to flame us for killing your favorite character, please let us know by reaching out to our socials. But because any form of interaction is good interaction. So you can reach us on Twitter or Instagram at RollFound. You can also join us on our Discord and message us or talk to us directly. You can find all of those links down in the description below. Though we do enjoy interacting and talking to you, we also spend a lot of money producing this content.
we do.
Buying all of the equipment, licensing all of the ambiance and sound effects. While we are happy to keep doing this in perpetuity for your viewing pleasure, anything that you can contribute to the podcast is greatly appreciated. And you can find both our Patreon and our Ko-fi down in the description below, which means special thank you to all of our patrons who do help support this podcast monetarily and give what they can. So thank you, Stephen Howland and Jason Lillis, for your long time and continued support. It does really mean a lot.
And thank you to everyone who supported us in the past. We know the economy sucks, but hey, it's going to get better. Just like our future series. Okay.
Whoa! And thank you to all of the artists who do create the music and ambiance that we utilize in all of these episodes. So special thank you and shout out to Michael Ghelfi, Monument Studios, and various artists from Epidemic Sounds. You can find all of their attributions also in the description below.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week on the next episode of
The Odd Campaign.
And maybe the last.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I keep saying it's the last episode.
Episode number 8 of the last episodes.
Yeah, the last episode, attempt number 8.
Attempt number 8. Okay. Bye!
Bye, guys!